Coming up on your favorite podcast, Ty and I are back to break down the WGC Dell match play from Austin Country Club. We'll also talk a little bit about Matt Jones's dominant performance at the Honda Classic. And since we don't have much to work with Daily Fantasy, we are going to go to the Dominican Republic for the opposite field event, the Corrales Punta Cana Resort Classic, whatever the hell you call it, invitational, blah, blah, blah. We might even do the LPGA if they gave us the opportunity to do so. It'll be fun. We're going to talk a lot of golf here in the next hour. Brooks Kepka's injury seems weird. We're going to talk about that. Rory McIlroy has a new coach. We're going to talk about that. All kinds of good stuff coming up next on the pod. Hey! It's the Tim Anderson Podcast. It's the PGA Preview Pod. I'm Tim, joined alongside insurance agent to the stars, my guy, golf connoisseur, and dear friend, Ty Schrupp. TySchrupp.com is where you got to go for all of your needs. This is the time of year where people are shopping like crazy. People are buying houses like crazy, homeowners insurance, all that jazz. Ty's a busy man right now. So if you want to get in on the good times, you got to give him a buzz. You got to go to TySchrupp.com. Hey, Ty.
Hey, Tim. Happy to be here.
You surviving?
Happy to talk some golf. I am surviving. I have not golfed yet, but I'm going to get some new grips on my clubs, and then I'm going to be out 100 times, I promise.
I certainly hope so. I expect a round of golf between you and I in the next week. Like, that has to happen.
Sounds
good. Got to figure this out. We might have to work out a little foursome, you, me, and John and Bry. You know, just this little this is a on camera or on air production meeting. But we got to maybe work out a little Sunday round or something if we can make it work. That'd be great.
Sounds good.
I'd love it.
Yep.
Let's try to do this because then we can really have a little good time out there. Man, I play some good golf, Ty. I'm getting some things going right now early in the season. Feeling good about my game early on in the season. Fired an 80 at Tanner's Brook, which isn't great, but I'll say this. Tanner's was in pretty playable shape. I just could not putt. I hit the ball. I struck the ball like I was Michelangelo. Like I was an artist with driving the ball and hitting iron shots. I just couldn't putt. I had 3 putts. Take the 3 putts away, and I shoot 74, 75. Easy. No problem. Then I came back, shot 77 on Saturday.
Are you having an issue putting, or is it just the early season?
I didn't claw on Saturday, and I shot 77, and I thought I putted better. I think the thing is that I just lose feel on the greens, and I just don't know like what to do. I've gone to claw, I've gone to conventional, I've tried left hand low, but that didn't feel comfortable at all, so I never did that. I've interlocked with I've used the same grip as with my irons as I did I've tried everything under the sun with putters. I've changed putters 5-6 times. You know this. This has been the part of the game that has just vexed me, the putting side of this, but felt like I putted. I went back conventional on Saturday with my Odyssey, my backup putter. I used my Odyssey 2-ball Fang from a couple years ago. So it's kind of it's just a little, and it's 35 inches, not 34 inches. So it's a total backup putter, but I thought I putted it better. I saw the lines pretty well, and it was going really well.
You know where I stand on the claw putting. I'm not much a fan of it. I think I don't put you in this category, not even close, but at least on the professional level, I think claw putting is for guys who can't putt or just mentally don't have it. I think it's a little bit of a cop-out. But again, I don't put you in that category.
No, I think that's fair to put me in that category. Put me in that category. I can't putt, and so I'm trying to find whatever takes the yip out of the stroke. And I think what I found was, well, first of all, the difference is like when I play the TrueViz, I have 2 different balls that somebody got me a sleeve of the Chrome Soft TrueViz at the beginning of the year. By the way, no sponsors here, no free ads. But if you want to send me some balls or something, I'll be happy to play it. But I'm playing out the sleeve, the box of the TrueViz. And I don't draw a line on the TrueViz because it's harder to see it, because it's like a soccer ball, right? And I love hitting that ball because I love the way I love seeing the little dots on it move. That's pretty cool. But I putt, it's just hard because I don't get my line on the putt. But I put a line on I used the Strixon ball on Saturday, and I drew a line on it, and the line the line does help. The line helps me a lot. I have found that, like, I have to have the line on the ball. Just have to. That does help. So, yeah, it was good. I snaked a couple of putts in, made me feel pretty good, built some confidence. It was a lovely experience. For
the first time ever, I'm going to put a line on my ball this year.
It does, it's a weird thing, but I've started doing that now. I started doing it last year with some different balls, and I thought it helped for a while, just with confidence. And I decided I got rid of it for a while because, again, you get tired of getting made fun of for using all these putting gimmicks, and so you get away from it thinking, just go and putt it. But then you realize, like, no, you need some of these things. Like, for me, I just need some of these things. So
I've never used it, not one round, but I think that it's going to help as far as just trusting the line. You're going to know your line the best when you're standing over the ball or standing behind the ball. Standing over the ball is where I like to change my mind a lot.
Same.
All of a sudden your feet feel a little bit uneasy and you think, well, maybe this is going to break left because my heels are a little low. And then you end up hitting something different than you decided when you were standing behind the ball, actually reading the line. So for me, it's just a trust thing. And I think I just have to try it. I think there's enough there that I think it could definitely help me. If I can shave a stroke or two off, you like to say you're not a great putter. I am a terrible putter, but I'm all feel, right? That's why I don't like the claw putting, is because I think you take the natural feeling, the natural golf swing. I mean, there's a reason you hit your iron shots and your driver with your left hand high and your right hand low if you're a right-handed golfer. I just think it's kind of the natural part of golf. And when you're feeling it, that should be your most trusted stroke. Aside from being able to stand behind the ball, which we can't do. So we improvise.
There's something to be said for that. I do think that's what helps me a lot, is even with the line, I find myself second guessing sometimes, but I didn't do that on Saturday. I just said, wherever I put it, that's what I'm going to aim the 2-ball fang. And I will say it frames it up nice. I forgot how nice that 2-ball putter from Odyssey really does frame up the ball behind it. It just lined it up and hit it and just said, you're going to trust it. And I found that even when I didn't make the putt, I put it on a good line and gave it a chance to go in the hole. I had a couple that could have gone in just the same, so it is going to help me, I think. I'm going to stay with the backup putter for a little while, which means the gamer, the ping, sits in the bag for a couple of, maybe at least the next round. So we'll see what happens.
That's another thing about putting that I think about a lot, is in other sports or in other areas of golf, we like to say that it's just the way it bounced, right? But when it comes to putting, they always say he just wasn't on today, wasn't on his reads. He was a little heavy. He was a little, whereas sometimes, you have a putt that happens to lip out rather than lip in. And that could be the difference between a good putting day and a bad putting day. Sometimes it's just the bounces. And I think putting can be the same thing. I don't tend to leave my rounds and say, man, I just putted terribly. I just say, hey, missed a couple close ones. If I had made those, I probably would have called it a good putting day. So
that was when I left Tanner's on Thursday, we walked it. I felt like that 80 could have been, I left 5-6 strokes on the greens, which, it's okay because Minnesota golf season doesn't start till April 1st. So none of these rounds go in the gin. So as far as I'm concerned, this is about, if you're going to screw up or experiment, like, these are the days to do it, because none of these rounds count. So get out there and play. Try something that you've been wanting to try. Like, if you're sitting there trying to, this is, that switch to steel shafts. Like, I went to steel stiff shafts like a month ago. Just going outside, hitting balls, seeing what felt different, and doing the test. And that's why we are where we are. So, but I will say the stiff shafts have done great for me so far. I like how I'm striking it. I feel like my dispersion is better. It's been a good experiment so far. You generate way more club head speed than me. You need extra stiff shafts, probably.
Extra stiff, yeah. That's what we're going with.
That's what you're going to go with. All right, Honda Classic. Bit of a snooze fest. Got to tell you. I mean, Phil tried to make it interesting at times. Ricky at least made the cut, but not a lot going on. Not a lot happening. Although Matty Jones is he's a unique player to watch, which is kind of fun about that experience. The fact that he does not screw around. Like, I think they timed it from address to impact. It's 4 seconds, which he's a man after my own heart because you know me. I don't take a lot of practice swings, and I play very quickly. Mm-hmm. Matty Jones is one of those guys that I can get behind. I like a guy like him. So I was happy that he was able to win it, but there wasn't really any drama on this one. Aaron Wise just totally threw up on himself a couple of different times on the back nine, and on Saturday and Sunday, and left that show kind of a mess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the understatement of the year when you said that it was a bit of a snooze fest. It was a downright snooze fest. I was asleep the whole time. I tried to watch a couple of times, but I had a hard time. I watched with my father-in-law, as I usually do, and he's asking me, who are these guys? And normally I have an answer. I can tell him a little bit of background. Man, I had no clue. I know Aaron Wise. I watch that name a lot. I know he's out of Oregon. He's, was a young golfer. I know he came up with Bo Hostler, and those were the two guys that were going to spring onto the scene. And man, neither one of them have.
Yeah, Hostler's a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah. Hostler just hasn't figured it out, and he couldn't have been any better in college. Hostler was Texas, right?
Yep, he was Texas. Wise was Oregon. Wise was the NCAA champion the year that they won as a team, too. And Wise has won, he won the Byron Nelson at Trinity Forest a couple years ago, and you thought, well, here we go. And it has not happened for Aaron Wise. It just has not. And same with Bo Hostler. Jones at least is a bit of a journeyman. He won the Houston Open 7 years ago. He's a good player in Australia. One thing COVID took away from me this year, I have to tell you, is watching the Australian golf tournaments in November. Because when the season wraps up and the tour's done for a while, all of a sudden there's a month of primetime golf that shows up in November around Thanksgiving. I get the Aussie Open, the Aussie PGA, whatever. And it's this 4 weeks of Australian golf, and you see Matt Jones and all those guys there all the time, Adam Scott, and you just really get familiar with him. And Jones is a good player in Australia. And it's just, he hasn't won a ton on American soil, but he's a fun player to watch because of how fast he plays. But yeah, for Hostler, I don't get Hostler. I must admit, I watched him play a little bit, and I'm just like, what's missing? Like, I don't know what he doesn't have. But I'm saying the same thing about guys like Ollie Schneiderjans too. Like, I don't know why he's not any good.
Yeah. I think Ollie Schneiderjans needs to wear a hat. That's all.
That's it. I think you're right. Wear a hat. Just put a hat on. You're going to be fine.
It's not that hard. Everybody else does.
Everybody else is wearing a hat, Ollie. Come on, man. Yeah, throw on. You know what? He could get fun with this and just put on a goofy ass hat. He could put on a sombrero. Like, I don't care. He could wear whatever hat he wants out. Be different, Ollie. But come on, man.
Yeah. Ollie Schneiderjans, he seems like, as he should, because he's one of those, high ceiling guys when you're talking about the young guys who haven't broke through. But Ollie Schneiderjans, if you're watching a formerly the web.com, what do they call it now? The
Corn Ferry.
The Walmart tour, Corn Ferry tour. Ollie Schneiderjans is always in the top 5 when it comes to that. But all of a sudden you put him against the big guys and he's nowhere to be found.
I think I know how to fix it. Bo Hostler needs to he's got to get rid of the Pat Hurst visor or the Annika Sorenstam visor that he's wearing, and he needs to go to a real hat or a bucket hat, maybe a bucket hat of some sort. And Schneiderjans needs to go to a visor.
Yeah, there we go. Even swap. I feel like Bo Hostler, he just, from a fashion standpoint, he's just not trying. There's no doubt about it.
Well, he's like 25, but he's got like your dad's body. You know what I mean? Like, he's got, not my dad's body, because my dad's body is like a weeble. That doesn't count. But anybody else's dad, he's got a dad's body. He's got kind of a front butt gut thing going that he's got working. It's like it's a weird thing he's got going. I don't know, man. Just let's get it fixed, Bo Hostler. Let's get it fixed out there. Yeah. Maybe do some Ricky Fowler stuff. Like, wear some of his stuff.
Normally those guys who play that well in college are a pretty safe bet that they're going to have their time on the PGA Tour, and he hasn't quite made it into that category. But getting away from Bo Hostler, doesn't this kind of feel like week 4 of the NFL preseason right now? We're kind of in that holding pattern. Games that matter are like right around the corner, and that's really all I'm focused on.
Yeah, the Masters is right here, and Here we go.
Like the Hawaii swing is week 2 in the preseason. It's cute and all. You tune in because you're excited to watch real golf or real football. The third preseason game's the Players. You get to see your starters, but they really haven't pulled out the full playbook. Like, give me real games, which in this case is the Masters. Like, I already have my eyes set on Augusta. I got to be honest. This is going to break your heart, but the match play does nothing for me.
What?
Nope. Not even close. Unless you dress it up and call it the
Masters of Match Play. Well, then you watch it?
No. No, I still wouldn't watch it. But, if it's not if it's not guys playing for their country, I'm just not in on it. If it's not the Olympics, I'm not in on it. So it doesn't do much for me, the match play. Sorry.
See, I like it better now in this pool play format, this sort of World Cup style. I like it better than when you get a good player who'd lose on day 1 on a Wednesday and be like, well, that was fun. Now I don't get to watch this guy play for the rest of the week. At least I'm guaranteed 3 opportunities to watch. The one thing I'll say that they have working for them is this golf course, this Austin Country Club course, which I think is a Pete Dye. I'm not sure. But it looks like a Pete Dye, is really unique. Like, it's a really cool golf course. It's got a lot of quirky holes. It's a great match play course. It's a really good match play course because there's a lot of risk-reward stuff. There's a lot of holes where you can make birdie, a lot of holes where you can make double bogey, some funky shots out of weird lies, some drivable par 4s, and it doesn't favor anybody. 2 years ago, Kevin Kisner won it. Bubba Watson won it 3 years ago. Tiger made a run at it a couple years back. So, like, guys can, long hitters, short hitters, iron players, drivers, putters, they can all win on this course.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It is a Pete Dye course. It's not a long course, and that it's you detailed it perfectly because when you're reading about the favorites and what the reasoning is, what the experts are saying, they don't know either. They don't have anyone to throw out. There's nobody who dominates this type of play, which is surprising. You would think there would be someone who would really stand out. I think a lot of the overwhelming choice of the experts was Patrick Reed because he's kind of a lone wolf and put him against the world, and he seems to play better. I mean, there's really no betting favorite at this point. I think even DJ is like the 3rd best odds to win. Mm-hmm. It's anyone could win, and it accounts the same, right? It's a WGC. You get a ton of FedEx points. You get 2 years of but this tends to be, a little bit less of a chance that someone random gets hot. I mean, to win this tournament, you kind of have to go through 3-4 really good players, and it just doesn't usually end up being a random person. But that's okay. I have no problem with watching the championship match on Sunday and having it be 2 guys who I actually care to watch and know about.
So I think you'll like watching just for the golf course. I do enjoy Pete Dye courses. The more now that I've actually played one, and the more I watch them, and the more you kind of see the nuance of them, the more you're like, yeah, I get it. I get why this is different. I think this will be it's a fun course to watch. I'm looking forward to it. I want to run through the pools with you, the different groups, and let's figure out like who the group of death is, which guy has the easiest path to the next round, or the Sweet 16, if you will, and let's see how this goes, right? So here we go.
Sounds good.
All right, let's look at this. Group 1, obviously, here's how that works. So the top 16 players in the world that are playing in the tournament get their own group. And then from there, it's like 17 through 33 or 32, whatever, get their own group, and it's pieced together. It's like a lottery system. So it's a random draw, these guys out of these different elements of the top 64. So here we go. Group 1 has Dustin Johnson, so it's DJ's group. He's with Kevin Na, Robert McIntyre, Adam Long. McIntyre can hit it a long way. He's a lefty. I'm interested to see how he'll play in this event. Na's a short hitter but a great putter, and Adam Long is just one of them journeyman guys that's a good player. DJ should win his draw here. He really should. But the guy who could give him problems is who? Kevin Na?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I just think if you're staring down the barrel, Kevin Na and DJ, I just can't see Kevin Na coming out on top. But, even on a course where, not that Dustin Johnson's the longest player in the world, but He's certainly longer than Kevin Na, and when he gets hot, he's a pretty good putter. I mean, unless he's on 18 at Chambers Bay, he's a pretty good putter. So
just stick with the spider, Dustin. Don't move. Every time he switches and goes to like a blade, I'm like, well, this is a disaster. And then he's right back to the spider like 2 rounds later, and he wins again with the spider. So just stop screwing around. Play with the spider.
And on that, yep.
So DJ, here's a potential group of death. Group 2, JT, it's his group. Louis Oosthuizen, Kevin Kisner, the defending champion, and Matt Kuchar. Thomas is obviously hot.
That's a bit of a buzzsaw because you all of a sudden have a guy like Matt Kuchar who has a ton of team play in his history, right?
Yep.
Former Ryder Cup guy, President's Cup guy, has played generally pretty well. He tends to be that veteran presence in a group with the young guy. I mean, JT's the best player, but Louis Oosthuizen, I mean, he plays well in big moments. And if Kevin Kisner won the event last year, that means he's probably comfortable with the format and the course. Was it at the same course last year?
Yeah, 2 years ago because they didn't play last year. So here's the thing, though. Kiz has played in the championship match 2 years, the previous 2 years. 2018, he lost to Bubba. 2019, he beats Matt Kuchar. So Kisner likes the golf course, likes match play, good iron player. This is going to be a tough one for JT.
Very tough draw.
Early nomination for Group of Death. We'll maybe see it. Does Thomas come out of that?
Probably not.
Yeah, I say no. I think this is one where Thomas has played well. He played well at the Players, and it looks like he might be coming out of that funk. But Louis Oosthuizen can put you right back in a funk pretty quickly, and so can Kevin Kisner. So I don't know if JT comes out of that. That's a very tough one. All right, here we go. Group 3, John Rahm. He has Ryan Palmer, Shane Lowry, Sebastian Munoz.
Yeah, I'm out on that group. John Rahm.
Yeah, unless John Rahm's wife goes into labor, because he has said, "Don't bet on me. Don't bet on me until because he's like, I'm going to make this very clear, all the way through the Masters. Like he thinks he'll be fine through the Masters. Like he thinks she should be fine, but the cell phone's in the caddy's pocket, and he does not care where he is on the course at any time. He will leave. Doesn't matter if it is Sunday at 15 at Augusta and he's leading by 2. He will leave.
Sidebar: if that's your wife, is she getting induced today with the Masters coming up? Players do it athletes do it all the time, right?
I don't think you can go to your wife at 20-some years old and say, hey, listen, I understand that this is probably stressful for you, but we're doing this right now because I have to go play Augusta in 3 weeks. I don't think that goes well. I don't think so.
I don't think it's as crazy as you think.
I think it's a harbinger for bad things to come.
Maybe true, but the dude's never won at Augusta. Dude's never won a major, so I think he's got to do it, but obviously he's not. That's interesting that you say that. I didn't know that, and that makes sense why some of the odds I was looking at, he wasn't even on it.
Yeah, he's basically all but said, you may not want to bet on me. No guarantee I finish any of these next few tournaments, just so you know. He's like, my hope is I will. I'm going to try to. No guarantee that I do.
Ryan Palmer and Shane Lowry are licking their lips right now.
They're like, hey, is there some spicy food we can give your wife? Or is there something we can do to kind of help this process along? They're sending, buffalo sriracha wings up there. I don't know. Does hot induce labor? I don't know. What induces labor?
Supposed to.
It does?
Walking and spicy food, supposedly. Who knows? Didn't work for us.
I was going to say, you wouldn't have gone to the wife and said, hey, I got a round at Giants Ridge on Sunday. I'm going to need you to have this baby on Friday.
Well, so I actually have a story that I think is relevant enough to talk about on the pod.
Yeah, we can keep the sidebar rolling.
So I do a guy's golf trip every year that...
Thanks for the invite.
I'm not the organizer. I'm actually kind of an outcast. So we do
Me too.
a Ryder Cup format up at Giants Ridge the weekend after Labor Day. And this year, it's supposed to be like September 8th or whatever the date is. And my wife is due with a baby on September 4th. So if you think that we're not inducing a week early so I can go on that golf trip, you are out of your mind. And I'm not John Rahm. Just a guy's week. But it's worth it.
First of all, I didn't know that was coming. Did I know that? Did you tell me that?
No, we with the last kid too, we didn't make any formal announcements. It's not a secret, but yeah, Kayla's going to have our third child.
Look at that, Tyus, right here on the podcast. Let's go. Jesus. That's my guy. No wonder you're drinking. I'd be drinking too. Oh, heaven. Let's go, man. That's
Thanks.
awesome. Good for you. Congratulations. But does your wife know that you'd say that? Do you think, have you had this conversation?
No, but she's not far from me, and she gave me the look.
I feel like Kayla's not the type that would put up with that nonsense.
No.
Just doesn't suffer fools gladly.
Yeah, in fact, I'm all talk. I already emailed the guy and said I probably can't play this year. So
Good man. Yeah, it's a sad day. Sad day. Oh, you poor thing. All right, here we go. Group 4.
Group 4.
Colin Morikawa's group. He's got Billy Ho, Billy Horschel, Max Homa, JT Poston. This is actually a very underrated, fun group.
For sure. This group maybe has the highest ceiling. I'm not sure I'm ready to call it the group of death or whatever term you used, but this has potential to be that. This has potential that Colin Morikawa could not win a match. Who knows? I mean, these guys are good golfers. JT Poston, a little bit less proven, but Homa, as of late, not super hot, but he's kind of shown that he can be a real player. And Billy Ho is just a good all-around player. He's a vet, another guy who has a lot of experience with team play and with match play, and also has not played terribly this year. So
I kind of like Max now that because Max played 8 weeks in a row before last week. So like to get a week off and to kind of recharge a little bit and to get out of that Bermuda of Florida, I don't think that's his bag. To go to Texas, a little bit more, I think, his speed. I think he's going to be good here. I like Max Homa. I would not be surprised if he wins this section. Go Max Homa. We're rooting for it here at the pod.
Yep, Colin Morikawa, he has a major. He's got his.
I love Morikawa. Actually, I'm one of the few people that likes.
Has the WGC.
I'm one of the few people that likes Billy Horschel too. I kind of like Billy Horschel. I don't know. He's just I kind of just like his. First of all, I like his golf swing. I'm a big fan of his golf swing. And JT Poston's just a rock solid guy. Love JT Poston. So let's go. That's a good group. I really like it. All right, this is the one you've been thinking about. To me, this is a walkover. Group 5, Bryson DeChambeau. It's his group. Tommy Fleetwood, who I am just really down on right now. I'm waiting for Tommy to do something. Come on, Tommy. Siwoo Kim, who I'm still pissed off at from 2 weeks ago. And Antoine Rosner. Antoine Rosner, who I could not pick out of a lineup. I could not pick out of a two-man lineup.
Nope.
Standing next to Sergio Garcia.
Tommy Fleetwood played in the 3M Open back in July. That tells you where he's at currently in his career.
Hey now. You watch your tone. Watch your tone.
Siwoo Kim's a good player. I mean, I could see him coming out of this, but Bryson's just playing too well. I think Bryson, that what I mentioned earlier about Patrick Reed having that lone wolf mentality, Bryson has that as well. So I think that Bryson will thrive in this setting. And Bryson obviously played great in the USAM, which is a similar format. So I think Bryson's going to come out of this. Definitely not my bracket of death. Definitely not my pool of death.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like. I just like Bryson here. I don't see any way I just don't see any way he doesn't come out of this. Like, I just don't see it because, first of all, Antoine Raz, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I can't tell you his game, but I'll tell you this. I have not seen him on a leaderboard in any of these events. So, and the only reason he's in this event is because Kepka's not playing, Woods isn't playing. There's 4 or 5 guys that are top guys that aren't playing. So that tells me that he's probably not – he's not that guy. So I don't know. I'm not super worried about Antoine Rosner. But he's in the field. But he did win the Cutter Masters a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
So let's. He might be on a heater, but playing in Qatar and playing here, two different animals.
And second win in his last 6 European Tour starts is what it says. So.
Yeah. So there you go. Group 6. Now this is an intriguing group. Got Xander Schauffele. This is his group. Xander, Scotty Scheffler, Jason Day, Andy Sullivan. Andy Sullivan is a good enough player. He's a good player. Doesn't do it for me. I'm not really worried about him. Jason Day, I think, is the guy who wins this one. I actually think he will win this group.
Yeah, when you talk about guys like Bryson and Patrick Reed, kind of the opposite of those guys would be Xander Schauffele. So just for the sake of trying to find a common theme with, who might be favored in a tournament like this with this type, I think that the format is going to have a lot more of a say than the course. And if I have to rule someone out by way of who's going to be good, head to head, staring down the barrel of a gun, Xander Schauffele is going to be on the bottom of that list. So yeah, I like that. I mean, the three guys in this group, I kind of like at the Masters this year. So
yeah. There's some guys here that are going to be. It's a good group, and Day looks to be playing pretty good actually. Day has played well. Since moving to Chris Como and getting a mixed bag of clubs, like he's playing Mizuno irons and just looks different, but he looks better. Like he just looks healthy. So we'll see if he lasts. But I like Jason Day to win this. I actually think he will. I don't think Xander's played all that great. This could be a good one for Xander to come out and bust out, but I'm not seeing it. All right, Group 7. I'm going to take a quick break from golf talk to go pro wrestling here. In Top Rope Radio, Ty, when you have a good guy tag team versus the bad guy tag team, it's like the heels versus the baby faces. That's what Group 7 is. Patrick Reed, Joaquin Neiman, Christian Bezadenhout, Bubba Watson. You got Watson and Reed versus Neiman and Bezadenhout, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Bubba's won this event. Bubba's a little sneaky in these match plays. He's a tough out in match play because he's all over the map. Yeah.
And that can mess with you, if a guy takes a different angle that you weren't thinking of. And that can throw you off when you're literally playing next to the only person who matters at that time, right? It's the only event where Bubba could shoot 4 over and do all and he could shoot over par in every match and win the event because he only has to beat the person playing right next to him. So yeah, this definitely lines up as a Bubba Watson. I mean, if you hadn't told me Bubba Watson's results in this tournament, I still would have said that this sets up well for him. So yeah.
But he's been in a fog. Like Watson feels just way, like he just feels sort of like he's drifting. Like he's just adrift out there somewhere. Like he hasn't been a factor. This could be a good tournament for him to get right. A lot of good vibes here. I still feel like Reed is the match play guy here, right? Especially one-on-one match play. Yeah. Like I kind of like Reed here. But would I be shocked if a guy like Bubba won it? No, not at all. Not at all. And Joaquin Neiman's
I would not be shocked if any of these guys came out.
Yeah, Bezadenhout's a good player. Nobody talks about Christian Bezadenhout. He's a good player. He's a very good player.
He's been on the tops of leaderboards a lot lately. I mean, I know that name very well. It doesn't mean I know how to pronounce it, but I know the name very well.
This is the all-European group, but you're going to love this one. Group 8. You know what I call this? This is a sassy group. This group's got some energy to it. Tyrrell Hatton's group. This is Tyrrell Hatton, Lee Westwood, Sergio Garcia, and Matt Wallace. What are the odds a club gets thrown in this group?
Pretty darn good. I am very upset with Lee Westwood. Can you imagine going out back-to-back weeks with loaded fields and finishing in second place, and then I pick him for my daily picks, and he goes out and misses the cut?
We needed a do-over. We needed a do-over. He put his son on the bag. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, that's
ride the hot hand. Get Helen back on the bag. What are you doing, Lee Westwood?
I know she must be. She doesn't have the stamina yet, I guess.
I would tell that son, like, hey, thanks, but no thanks. Go fly a kite. You ain't in on this bag right now. I'll see you at the John Deere.
Yeah, not after top two finishes.
Yeah, like, sorry, got to play the heater here. What are we doing? Oh, Jesus. we should have got a do-over as soon as I saw his son carrying the bag. I'm like, well, that's it.
Yep.
It's over. Who win? I wouldn't be surprised if Westwood wins this bracket, though. Would not be surprised. I think Tyrrell Hatton should win it because I think he's the best player in this group right now. But Serge is an iron playing machine and loves Ryder Cups and loves match play. Wouldn't be surprised if Serge made a run.
Yeah, I think Sergio's going to win this group.
You got Serge? I wouldn't be surprised. I could live with that. All right, Group 9. This is Webb Simpson's group, or as I like to call it, I am bored to tears. I have no intention of watching any match in this group. Webb Simpson, Paul Casey, Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Gooch.
I don't hate this group. I mean, I like watching Webb Simpson. I like watching him struggle on the green, but he's just a solid all-around player. He's one of those guys. Yeah, he's not flashy, but what does he have 2 majors now? I mean, he's a really good player. Paul Casey, I don't know, probably one of those guys who plays well in match play. Mackenzie Hughes, don't know a whole lot about him. Taylor Gooch, another guy, he's dead to me after last week.
You know what I call this group?
I don't hate this group.
This group I'm gonna dub the "This Was a Moment Ago" group. You will not see a live shot from this group. You will just hear Gary Koch going, and this was a moment ago, Webb Simpson. This is not a group. You will not see one live shot from this group. Paul Casey a moment ago. All right.
I think we missed the boat here. I think we should have named every group.
We really should have named every group.
Just like the Masters holes.
So this is
Disgusting.
So we're going with that. This group is the moment ago group. This was a moment ago group. Here we go. Group 10. Kind of like this group, although it's top heavy. This is a top heavy group. We're going to call this one. Group 10 is Patrick Cantlay's group. It's Cantlay, Matsuyama, Carlos Ortiz, Brian Harmon.
I already got a name for this group. It's Can't Lose, because he's not losing this.
The Can't Lose group. I like that. Patrick Cantlay to win in a walk, potentially. Yeah, I like the other guys. Like Ortiz is a nice player. Harmon's a nice player. Matsuyama, obviously, tee to green is as good as anybody. But you got to putt in match play. Got to make a putt. Got to make a 20-footer in match play. And I wouldn't have Hideki Matsuyama putt a 20-footer if my life depended on it. I don't think I would. Like, literally. I would just be like, all right, your choices are this. We could kill you, or Hideki Matsuyama can putt 20 feet for you. I'd be like, well, I'm pretty much dead, so you might as well go ahead and kill me. That's it.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Group 11. Interesting group here. This is Rory's group. Rory, Cam Smith, Lonto Griffin, Ian Poulter.
In honor of Common Man's preposterous statement tournament going on right now, I'm just going to come out and say it, that Cameron Smith is the best golfer in this group.
I'm rooting for Cam Smith to win this group. I actually think it might be. Although, you know what? I'm going to take Ian Poulter to win this group. Poulter's the best putter. Like, distance isn't a factor, and Poulter's the best putter. So give me Ian Poulter. But I like Cam Smith. I wouldn't be surprised if Cam Smith won it. We got to talk.
Cam Smith is my pick to win it all.
We'll talk Roars after I get through all the groups, because I definitely want to share some Rory news that broke this week, and you and I want to talk a little bit about that. Group 12. Or as I like to call this group, we're going to hit it really far, and that's about it group. Tony Finau, Jason Kokrak, Will Zalatoris, Dylan Fratelli. Fratelli, Finau, and Kokrak hit it 8 miles, and they've got 2 wins between them. Not good.
Finau has a lot to prove to me this week with, does he belong on he probably ends up on the Ryder Cup roster, but does he belong on the Ryder Cup roster? I mean, I want to see him come out of this group. There's some nice golfers in this group, but there's really nothing, there's no reason to think he shouldn't win this group if he is what he thinks he is or where he wants to aspire to be. So yeah, I'll be watching this group. This will be a fun group to watch. I like watching Will Zalatoris. I love the long hair. He's got the look. All he needs is a mustache. He'd be Cam Smith Jr.
Will Zalatoris is my pick in this group. I think Will Zalatoris wins this group.
He might.
And that would be a knock on Finau. I think Finau, you're right. If he wants to be the guy, you got to win this group. Got to. Got to. Group 13.
Another top-heavy group.
Yeah, it is this is another top-heavy group, but kind of a fun one. Victor Hovland's group with Abraham Ancer, Bernd Wiesberger, and Kevin Streelman. It's Hovland, right? I mean, this is another one where I feel like him or Ancer could win this. I don't think
Ancer. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Wiesberger or Streelman wins this. Although, would I be shocked? Kevin Streelman. This will be the tournament. Streelman just goes lights out and gets to the Sweet 16.
God, I hope not.
I'm gonna go. I want Hovland or Ancer to get this done. Let's go, guys. Ancer could be a stud here. Ancer was good in the President's Cup. Might be a good guy. All right, Group 14, or as I like to call it, I don't know what to call it. I would like to call it Burger and Fries. Here we go. Daniel Berger, Harris English, Brendan Todd, Eric Van Rooyen. I feel like any one of these guys can win. Now, Berger's playing the best, but I don't know. I mean, Brendan Todd Shankopotamus won at 17 or whatever on the Players. I'm a little concerned about that. Van Rooyen wears joggers on the golf course. I can't get on. I mean, he was a Gopher. He's a Minnesota Gopher, so I could cheer for that. But he wears joggers. I can't get on board.
Is he the worst ranked player in the field?
He's 62, so he's not the worst ranked. But because there's got to be somebody worse than him. But he's got to be one of the last guys in.
Dylan Fratelli's 64.
Yeah.
Dylan Fratelli's 64 is the only other one I see.
Yeah, I don't know. This group, Berger should win it. Would I be surprised if any of these guys come out? No, wouldn't be surprised. If Van Rooyen gets hot, Van Rooyen can come out of this group, no problem. Just anybody but Harris English. I don't know. Something about Harris English, he's not very watchable. I don't know. Something about him not watchable to me.
No.
All right. Group 15. 2 more to go. This is my group right here. I don't know if it's the group of death, but it's the group that I want to watch. Matt Fitzpatrick, Matt Wolff, Corey Connors, Jordan F. Word Spieth. Spieth wins this group, folks, or Corey Connors. The top 2 guys, 15 and 20, Wolff and Fitzpatrick, not winning this group. Guaranteed. It's Connors or Spieth.
Isn't it crazy? Jordan Spieth is the worst ranked player in this group.
And Fitzpatrick doesn't want any part of him in this first match. I got to tell you.
Do you like Spieth in this type of format?
Yeah, I think he's a great match play player. Look at his Ryder Cup record and look at his amateur record. He's really good in match play. Because you know what it is? Double bogeys are just one hole. I think that's part of it. Is he's a birdie machine. He'll make 7 birdies. Yes, he'll make a double bogey or 2, but that's only going to cost you 1 hole. If you make 7 birdies and a couple of bogeys, you're going to win your match.
Who's the Asian? I don't know what do they call it? The Asian Tour. Who's the Asian Tour player who makes all the double bogeys?
Well, there's a few of those. I mean, there's that one with the weird swing. What's his name?
He makes like the most double bogeys on tour.
Is that Afi Bonrat? Is that Kiradek?
I don't think it's Kiradek. I feel it's one of these guys who has the, like Sung J M or
is it KH Lee? Is it KH Lee? Yeah, the guy who totally jobbed me last week.
KH Lee. Yep,
KH Lee just screwed me last week. Come on, KH. Anyway.
Yep. Apparently the most double bogeys of any player. I mean, he should be in this field. Where does he? Come on.
Yeah, come on. Got to get it in gear. All right, here we go. Group 16. This is kind of a fun group, actually. Sung Jae, 16. It's his group. Victor Perez, Mark Leishman, Russell Henley. Come on, Sung Jae. Got to be Sung Jae M, right? Got to be. Come on.
I don't see anybody really challenging him here. I don't know enough about Victor Perez, but Leishman and Henley.
I don't know if there's a guy that you look at in this tournament, though, and go, that guy should win this tournament hands down. Don't you feel like it?
No,
there's nobody that's trending. There's nobody that you're looking at going, oh, that guy is he's so rock solid right now. There's no way he loses.
Nope.
Maybe DeChambeau. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because DeChambeau can just overpower. There's a couple holes he can just outdrive, I would think. I think he could just all in out drive him. We'll see. It should be an interesting event. I'm looking forward to it. That's the field. I will take Spieth to win his group. I think Spieth makes a run to the Elite Eight. The Elite Eight. Mark it down. I don't think he wins it, but I think he makes a deep run, and everybody's talking about him on Saturday. That's what I'm going with. Would I be shocked if Sungjae Im won this tournament? Not at all. Come on, Sungjae. All right.
Yeah, I'm still going with Cam Smith. But another thing that I like about this event is it starts on Wednesday.
Oh, I know. Golf tomorrow. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tyus, I've got 2 nuggets that I want to talk about before we get into our picks for the opposite field event in Punta Cana, which, by the way, you've been to, I haven't, and I didn't get an invite, and they didn't give me a sponsor's exemption this year. So disappointed. No sponsor's exemption for me this year. Keep waiting for it.
What?
Didn't get it. Unbelievable.
Not this year.
Yeah,
Next
frustrating. Year. Frustrating. All right, 2 nuggets. Number 1, Rory McIlroy goes to Pete Cowan. Pete Cowan's an old veteran, has coached a lot of Euro guys. Is this an act of desperation or a smart move from Rory? Do you like it? No, don't like it? What do you think?
I mean, something had to change, right? So in the theme of the Gophers hiring a little bit of a wild card basketball coach this year, I don't know how you can not like it. I'm not sure there was a more obvious choice or an obvious choice at all in this situation. So like I said, something had to change. We'll see. I mean, what do you think? So if you're a player on the tour and you switch to a new coach, how long do they get before you move on?
Well,
so how long of a sample size is this guy going to get?
That's a great question. I think you go. I feel like it has to be a year, right?
Yeah.
You feel. I mean, that's why the Ricky thing is so concerning, because he's been with John Tillery now. This is year 2 of John Tillery, and you just feel like it's getting worse. And you know, Brooks isn't with Claude Harmon anymore. He's by himself. There are guys that just, you got to give it a year. I think it's a year, right? Like Jason Day's with Chris Como, and we're seeing some pretty instant results. Bryson DeChambeau's with Chris Como, and we're seeing some pretty instant results. We're seeing there's some good quality coaches out there. And I just think you got to go a year, especially if it's a wholesale swing change. Like if you're going through something big, like you're changing positions or something, if it's just about a maintenance thing, maybe not long at all. But if it's a big overhaul, then yeah, it could be a while. But I don't think this is an overhaul, do you? You think this is? I think this is just a veteran pair of eyes just saying, do this instead of this.
Yeah, I can't imagine, and I haven't heard that. I'd be shocked by that. There's just too much natural talent there to try to, and I just think a coach would be silly to try to. That could be career ending trying to make wholesale changes on a guy like Rory McIlroy. I just don't see that happening. I don't know what the guy's doing from a sports psychology standpoint, but that could be the ticket too. I'd be interested to know what he's doing. For his mind, because that's such a big deal for a golfer, and honestly, probably a bigger deal than the swing.
Yeah, he's a guy that does feel he does feel way more like connected to, like he cares what people think and whatever. So there's a reason why he, like a year ago, unplugged. Like he got rid of a lot of his apps, his social media stuff. That he controls. Like he just does a podcast with Carson Daly and does Golf Pass, but that's really it. I think he's very thoughtful about that stuff. So you wonder how much that plays a role into all of this.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it plays out this week. He's in the field. I don't expect instant success. Like I just don't expect it to just change overnight. But we'll see. I hope he plays better because the golf's better when Rory's playing well. That's all I know.
Even if he plays better this week, you can't, or even at Augusta or at really any of the majors this year, you can't attribute it back to a new golf coach. You're looking back end of the year, maybe U.S. Open, then you can look and say, okay, how's this working with the coach? For sure, Ryder Cup, but yeah.
I can't pick him
Rory's good enough. He could play well.
Yeah, I can't pick him until I see something.
No.
That's it.
Yep.
All right, here's the other one, and this one's a little concerning. Here's the headline. This is from Yahoo Sports, and it was talked about all over PGA Sirius XM today. So, headline from Yahoo Sports. Brad Faxon on Brooks Koepka's injury. Range chatter suggests Kepka could be out 6 to 8 months.
Yep.
Now, Brooks made this sound a couple weeks ago, like, we're getting better, just a little cleanup, little thing, little scope. Back for the Masters, no problem at all. Offered little detail about his injury, but in a text message it says that he suffered a right kneecap dislocation and ligament damage. And I think this is the other knee. So last year he had knee issues. He wins in Phoenix, and now he's got knee issues again, this time on the other knee. That's red flag central, isn't it?
I'm going to get kicked off the pod for this, but Chase Kepka, not that he's a good golfer. He's not a good golfer, but Chase Kepka might win a tournament before Brooks Koepka does.
Wow. How about this? Let me ask you this. What happens first? Brooks Koepka plays a golf tournament or your wife has a child?
I think he'll play a tournament before then. I don't know.
So you're not buying the potentially this chatter, because again, Kepka's been mum. He says he wants to play the Masters, but there's
a chance that both could be true. He could not be, he could be playing golf and showing up to tournaments and knocking the ball around a few times, but he's not going to be in peak form. I mean, he's, I don't think you count on him for the Ryder Cup, and there's probably a chance that he takes his name out of the Ryder Cup discussion, because I don't think he's going to be healthy per se, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's swinging a golf club and showing up and doing his rehab assignment, whatever you want to call it. Brad
Faxon says that he thinks Brooks is not letting on how serious the injury really is. Here's his quote. This is just from this morning. He was on with Michael Breed. So here's his quote. I've heard, patella injury, post-collateral ligament. I've dealt with multiple ACL injuries. I've heard rumors that he's out 6 to 8 months. So I don't think the Masters has a chance. I'm not saying I want that to happen for Brooks in any reason. We need him on tour. He's a hell of a player, but I think he's going to battle this one. The PCL is a tough injury to get over. Couple that with other parts of the knee that have already been injured, we may not know the true story. Subterfuge potentially from Kepka, or is Faxon thinking is he just, it's way too much speculation on his part? I mean, Faxon doesn't seem like a fly off the handle type guy.
No, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one, but I kind of called this when this first came out. They tried to downplay it like, hey, it's just going to be a quick cleanup. And I kind of said, if you go back a few weeks, I said, I think this is going to be a bigger deal, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play in the Masters. So he's definitely not playing in the Masters. I think that where there's fire, or where there's smoke, there's usually fire when it comes to, trusted sources, and I certainly would put Brad Faxon in that category. So yeah, he's not playing in the Masters. I do think he'll be back before the end of the year, but you can almost count out the Ryder Cup.
See, and that's the other piece of this that's fascinating. Well, first of all, besides, if Kepka's injury, if this is, I think, we talked about a harbinger, I worry that this is a harbinger for the rest of Brooks Koepka's career. That these knees cannot support the big man's weight. And to lug yourself around the golf course every day, these are 6-mile walks, and you're a big dude. And you're swinging out of your shoes. And I just don't know, man. I'm a little concerned that, Brooks' body is going to give way here before too long. And I don't know if he's good enough without the big muscular body to win on tour. I think he needs that.
He was kind of Bryson DeChambeau before Bryson DeChambeau was Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
I think that's the second week in a row I've used that alliteration. But, yeah, the difference with him is he never really sprung onto the scene before he bulked up. I mean, when he bulked up is kind of when he first became a household name. But, yeah, you think about a guy like him, you think about Bryson DeChambeau as well. I mean, how are his knees and his shoulders and his core and his feet, at some point that stuff's going to break down. And yeah, I'm sure you look at a guy like, I guess Rory bulked up a little bit, but in general, he's a pretty slender guy. You'd have to think that there's a big difference in the durability down the road with a guy like Bryson and Brooks versus a guy like Rory or a Xander or a Ricky or, a number of guys. There's a lot of small guys on tour.
Well, the thing is, Rory bulked up and quickly came back down. And you're already seeing it with Bryson. Bryson just came out in an article the other day I read that he's already back. Like, he's already in the process of trying to lean down. Like, he's already down. Like, he's like, I've moved to 1,500 calories a day. It's just more proteins. I still want to be lean protein guy, but I don't know if I want to be what I am. Like, I don't know if I want to be this big on the golf course. I just worry about Brooks. And you're right. Ryder Cup implications are huge here. Because we already say, okay, you don't have the cat in any way, shape, or form. Not as an assistant captain, not as a player. He's out. You have Kepka, who, if he's out, now that leaves, and Spieth is on his way back, but we don't know if he's all the way there yet. You don't know if you can use a pick on him. Finau hasn't shown he can close. Now you're looking at this team with DJ, who seems a little hit and miss right now. Morikawa, who seems like he's got putting woes. Yeah, he putted great at concession, but I don't know. He went to the claw 3 weeks ago, and that feels like desperation. I don't know. But you got Morikawa, who's a little, I don't know. DeChambeau looks like he's strong. JT looks like he's coming back. But, man, there's questions now. Kepka was one of those guys that you could just pencil in and be like, Kepka's going to be a rock star. Don't worry about it. He's steady as can be. Not intimidated, wants to play in this event. I'd be very worried if I'm the Americans in this now. Very worried.
Yeah, there's a lot of golf between now and then, but even, you talked a little bit about it, but Dustin Johnson, I mean, at least you thought, well, Dustin Johnson, there's a good chance he'll walk in being the best player in the world. Like, again, a lot of golf, but you certainly wouldn't really say that about DJ right now.
Yeah, DJ is, you can't say he's playing. Now, DJ can flip a switch and go on a run like you wouldn't believe, but, I haven't seen it right now. All could be forgotten if he wins this week. Who knows? But not having Brooks and not having the cat at Augusta feels like, man, that sucks a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks. That's just me. All right, time to get to some picks, Ty. We decided to go opposite field. The LPGA didn't offer up any. They really need to get the LPGA on FanDuel. What are you doing? Come on.
Why not?
Let's get this done. I would have much rather used the Kia Classic, which, by the way, my mistake last week. I thought the Kia Classic was last week, which pissed me off because I was like, I could really go for some LPGA golf right now if we're going to have the Honda Classic stink up the place. But they are playing this week at the Kia. Michelle Wee is playing this week. Looking forward to that. Hopefully she's healthy. I want to see her play well. This is the week before the A&A Inspiration. I cannot wait for that tournament. It's one of my favorites of the year, so cannot wait. All right. Here we go, though. We decided to go opposite field at the Corrales Punta Cana Resort Classic. Let me just go through some of here are the top guys in the field, just for Ty's knowledge here. Thomas Peters is the highest ranked guy, the highest number guy in the field. Chuck Hoffman, your guy, Emiliano Grillo, Thomas Tetrie, Jonathan Vegas, Danny Willett, Brandon Wu, Brendan Hagee, Nate Lashley, Luke List. Those are your top guys in the field. Have fun.
Not great.
Not great. But I made a pick. I made picks, as I'm assuming you did as well. Yep. So let's hear it. Why don't you go ahead and tell me who you took with your highest? Who's your highest guy that you took?
My first pick of the draft, the 2021 draft, is Emiliano Grillo.
Did not take Emiliano Grillo. But I wouldn't be surprised. That's a good pick. He's actually, he may not be the highest number guy in the field, but I think he's probably the best player. Like, he's a good player. And this is the kind of tournament where Emiliano Grillo, if he wants to move forward, like get to that next place as a golfer, win this event. Go ahead and beat these guys down.
Yep.
This is a great tournament for some of the young guys. I've picked a couple of young guys and a couple of old guys this week, so we'll see how that plays out. My first pick, I actually went down the board because I wanted to see how much money I'd have left at the end. So I went to 9,400 to start, and I took Joel Damon. Joel Damon seems like a money machine. I like Joel Damon. He's a good follow on Twitter, by the way. If you haven't followed Joel Damon, he's very good. I'm going to take Joel Damon this week. I think he's He's a great story, first of all. He's a fun player to watch. And, he's on that second tier of, that, maybe not second tier, that, third tier of players in the tour that's fun to watch. Like Max Homa. Homa's starting to move up, but that's where he was in the Homa category a couple weeks ago, or a month ago. So give me Joel Damon. Go for a big week.
There you go.
Pick 2.
I didn't make it very far down the field before I took the hot hand. A name that you hadn't seen in a long time, but you have the last couple weeks. Jonathan Vegas.
Yeah, Johnny Vegas. He's a guy that shows up in these events. Even if he doesn't win them, he's always in the top 10. And it's never enough to get him into the WGC fields, but it's always enough to give him FedEx Cup points to keep his card and all of that stuff.
Right.
All right. I took a page out of your book because I went further down the list. I went to 8,000. I took Troy Merritt. I think there's a rule. We have to take Troy Merritt if he's in the thing. Either you or I have.
Somebody's got to take him.
So I decided to take him. $8,000. Again, here's why. Yes, he's made 8 out of 16 cuts, so it's been a little hit and miss. But we talked about this last week. Troy Merritt loves opposite field events.
Right.
Loves it when the big hitters are playing somewhere else.
Right. Lake Tahoe last year.
Yep. Played well at Reno. Played well at the bar. He won the Barbasol a couple years ago. Loves opposite field events. This is a Troy Merritt special. He makes the cut this week, and I would not be surprised if he contends. And we would accept that here at the pod. We like Troy Merritt.
I would love that. Yes.
All right. Go again.
I went ceiling. I went Rafa Cabrera Bello.
Yeah.
Not Scott Bello. Rafa.
Yeah, don't take Scott Baio. You'll be disappointed every time. I don't know any time anybody took Scott Baio and went, man, I really got my money's worth out of that. Has that ever happened? I mean, come on. No. I like Rafa Cabrera Bello.
Hopefully Rafa Cabrera Bello, yeah.
He's good for it. This is a good week for him. Yeah, this sets up well. He's a guy that's in limbo. He's adrift. He needs to have a good week.
Yep.
All right, I started to climb now. I went to 10,900 and I took Nate Lashley, the almighty Nate Lashley.
I knew you would. You love Nate Lashley.
I love Nate Lashley. I love that little cut he plays. And Nate's a fighter. I like him. He contended. He played well at Pebble. Didn't pull it off, but he played well there. He's got some chops. He's made 10 of 15 cuts. This is the kind of guy that you like in an event like this. His stats are decent. Like, I think he's first of all, he plays well in round one. So if he gets out of the blocks well, he's going to be there at the end. He's one of the better scorers in round one of tournaments. He can get it done. Points wise, his best point fantasy event was Pebble, but he's usually pretty steady. Good for about 50 to 60 points a week.
There you go.
So give me Nate Lashley.
With my next pick, $9,900, I went Charles Howell III. Makes about 2/3 of his cuts. I don't know. Not a big hitter, but mostly steady. Seems like an event you could see him at the top of the leaderboard at.
He's a cash machine. You know what I mean? The guy he does make a lot of money on tour. He just does. But he doesn't win anything, and he's just a guy that's like, he's just a guy. He is everything that you look at the PGA Tour and go, man, your kid has to be a golfer. Because look at Charles Howell III. He's played for 20-plus years. He's probably made like $50 million or whatever it is, $50, $60 million. And he hasn't been, and that's just he's just an average player. Played on a President's Cup, just an average player. All right, I took a young gun. I'm very high on him, and I think he's trending in the right direction. I'm taking Justin Suh, $10,600. Justin Suh.
No laying up guy.
Out of USC.
Yep, he's a no laying up guy.
He is. I like him a lot, actually. He's a good player. He had a good Shriners Hospital Open. He had 117 points there. He was a contender. Didn't play well at Bermuda. Did okay at Farmers and did okay at Puerto Rico. He's been mixing his time between Korn Ferry and when he can get starts on the PGA Tour. Would not be surprised if he plays well. Just would not be surprised if he plays well this week. This is a good one for a young gun. Good tournament for a young guy to win. Justin Suh would be a player that I think could win this event.
Tim, you're going to like my next pick.
Yep.
Bronson Burgoon.
Bronson Burgoon! Our first Bronson Burgoon sighting of the season.
It's an honor to be the first.
We're happy to have him. Thanks, Bronson.
Thanks, Bronson.
He had a good year last year. I thought he played well.
Yeah.
He was in a lot of leaderboards.
Every once in a while.
All right.
Yeah, he's usually that Thursday guy who's like 3 under before anybody tees off.
He's not. My next pick is not. He's not having a great season. But I'm going to play the hot hand because he had a good week last week, and I'm going to hope it continues. And he's a good story. I want him to play well. Camilo Villegas.
Yep.
$9,300.
I knew exactly who you were going to pick there.
Yep. I'm going to take Camilo. I hope a good event for Villegas. And he's played well in spots. I think this opposite field event could be just what the doctor ordered for him. He's made only 5 of 13 cuts. He's been playing on a medical exemption. And let's see and he's had so much just tumult in his life over the last year or two. Really good things need to happen to Camilo Villegas.
Does he still read putts laying down on the ground?
I don't think he does that anymore. No, he's not quite. No. He's not quite that spidery thing that he was doing. But
maybe he needs to go back to that.
Maybe so. Maybe he doesn't have the flexibility though.
Maybe he can't. Yeah.
Maybe I don't think I could. Could you do that right now?
No. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So we're gonna root for Camilo Villegas here at the pod. I want to see this get done. Last pick.
As much as you liked my last pick, Tim, I knew you would. You're going to hate this one. I am going with the man of the hour, Beau Hossler. He's got to break out some point, right?
If Beau Hossler shows up wearing that visor, he has no chance. Beau, you got to switch headgear, and you got to do it now.
We'll see. Something to look for.
Someone get on Twitter and say, Beau, the Tim pod, the PGA preview pod with Ty and Tim, we're demanding you change headgear now. Go to something else. Anything. All right. A top hat. He could wear a magician's top hat. I'd like it better than the visor. All right. My last pick, since I had all the money in the world left over, I took the number one guy. I took Thomas Pieters. I had $11,800 left. Took Thomas Pieters.
There's no chance that Thomas Pieters plays in the Ryder Cup this year, is there? Didn't he play really well?
See, I think there is a chance. Yeah, I think there is a chance he's a captain's pick because he is playing well. Like, he's playing well in Europe. He's playing well here when he gets the chance. He's only played here twice this year, but he's made 2 cuts. In Europe, he's been great. Okay. He had he didn't have a great U.S. Open. He made the cut, but didn't have a great U.S. Open. But played great in Puerto Rico. He's trying to get his PGA Tour card, so he's got to take advantage of these starts when he gets them. But in Europe, he's played very, very well. Would not be surprised if he's a captain's pick at the end.
Okay.
So I like Thomas Pieters. This could be a good one for him. So again, Damon, Merritt, Lashley, Suh, Villegas, Pieters. You have Bronson Burgoon, Charles Howell, Johnny Vegas. We've got some guys covered this week.
Cabrera Bello, Hossler.
Yep. Let's go. One of these guys got to break through so we never have to see them in this opposite field event again.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. If Merritt wins, Merritt can't play in these. There's a little part of Troy that's like, you know what? I want to play really well here. Take second. Get like 200 FedEx Cup points, enough to get me up closer to the 125 spot, and so I can keep playing in these events year after year. Why go to the WGC?
I know we're up against the clock, but I was having a friendly discussion with someone recently, and they were talking about how much players make on the PGA Tour, mid-level players or low-level players, and I asked, how much do you think Troy Merritt makes a year? And this person, I won't mention their name, said, I don't know, 200,000. I had to look it up. I don't know how long his career's been. Probably, I suppose he's 4 years older than me. So his career's probably been like 10, 11, 12 years. 12 years probably. And, a lot of that was spent on the web.com at the time. But career earnings, just from purses, $10 million. So
not bad.
Not bad. could live off that. I could live off that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say if he made $200,000 in a year, he'd be crying poverty. He'd be wondering where his stimulus check was. No chance? Right. No, you don't think so?
No.
He'd be like, Uncle Joe, I'm gonna need that $1,400.
Right.
Come on, guy. It's tough over here. It's hard out here.
I don't think he's checking his bank account.
Yeah,
I think
he's doing okay. Do you think he flew private to the Punta Cana resort in Dominican?
I doubt it.
Maybe him and Damon and like 4 other guys got together.
Maybe he has a house there. Maybe he lives there.
Ooh, hey, that'd be nice.
He actually lives in Boise, Idaho, of all places.
Yeah, because that's where he went to college, at Boise State.
Yep. He used to live in Arizona. Didn't know anyone there.
I could see that,
back
though.
To Boise, and now his parents live in Boise.
Because it's not crowded. He could probably blend right in.
Right.
And I'm sure he can go hang out at Coeur d'Alene and get all the time he wants at any of those. Coeur d'Alene's a beautiful course in Idaho.
Coeur d'Alene would be a fun one to play.
That's on our list. We got to get out there.
Yeah.
Let's go see Troy and go play Coeur d'Alene.
Anytime you get a boat ride at a golf course, you know it's a good time.
Absolutely. 100% in on that. 100% in.
Right.
Let's go. Tyus, this was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch the golf this weekend. I can't wait to play golf with you. Let's get this done. You and I got to play, and we'll chat off air about that. Off-air production meeting. We're going to take this offline, figure out our golf plans for the weekend. Hopefully, when we come back next week on the pod, we're going to talk about the winner of the WGC and the winner of Ty and me's first match out together this year. Should be exciting. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the podcast again this week. Again, pick us up Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. You can email me at timpodcast1@yahoo.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Tim Anderson. Until then, for Ty, once again at tyshrup.com, you can go find him. For Ty, for me, for everyone who listens to the pod and supports us, we appreciate you. Saying, I'll keep your head up. We'll see you next time.